Guys, so welcome to production here at Java Republic. As you can see over here, this is the green coffee coming from the warehouse, and then over here, these are this is going into production line. Okay, so with this machine, I'll show you. With this machine, we lift the sacks because the coffee sacks are very heavy, so they weigh almost around 70 kilos each, okay? And then over here, what we do, if you can see inside, what we are doing here is we are measuring the amount of green coffee that I want to roast. So I have two big scales, basically. It's a small, for the small roaster, and this one goes to the big roaster, okay? So the entire thing sits on top of a very big scale, and then we can measure the amount of coffee. The coffee is transported by suction to the bean hopper over there, okay? It's transported to the hopper, and then it goes into the roaster underneath. Now this roaster can roast up to 160 kilos, but we usually roast 140, 120. What makes us a bit different is that even though we're a little bit of a bigger company, we can still do things in a handcrafted way, okay? So we can still check the coffee. So we can evaluate the aroma and the flavor for every single of our batches. Over here, we just have the control to allow us to see the graph, the roasting graph over there. And as we can see here, the temperature inside it's around 208, and the time right now it's 14 minutes and a half. So probably this coffee will be roasted up to like 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes, okay? Depending on the coffee that we're roasting. So this is a coffee from Honduras. One of the first things, I don't know if you can hear it, but we will get some of the popping over here, which means that the second crack it's occurring here in the rotating drum already. It didn't happen inside. So this is probably the darkest one we could go. And as you can see, it's not black, okay? So this coffee, it's from Honduras. We use this for some of our blends. Now, after the coffee begins to cool down, we open the hatch over here, and it's gonna go through the destoner. So that's why it's really noisy. The destoner, what helps us is to remove any unwanted particles that might be in the coffee, such as stones or rocks that are coming from the farms, okay? Accidentally, even though we have a very high quality standard procedures, we can control sometimes what is inside of the coffee sacks. After the coffee goes through the destoner, by suction, I am going to transport the coffee to my silos over here. Now there's something very important for us to know. We don't store the coffee. We use the silos only to separate the single origins that we roast, okay? Which means that we create the blend afterwards. What makes us different as well is that we roast every single origin separately. And as you can see over here, we have Honduras, we have Brazil, and then we have other origins. This machine over here allows me to control how much do I want from each coffee, and then it's transported to this machine over here, which is our mixer. This is our mixer, and over here is where our blends are created. So we roast blends over here. And over here, the different origins will be rotating for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then they will come out of here. From each batch, the guys will take a sample, and then this will end up on my desk and my colleagues' desks tomorrow for us to taste the coffees that were roasted today. So that gives us an understanding on if there's any problem within the coffee, if there's any quality issues, and we can identify that tomorrow from these samples. After we create the blend, now it's time for us to pack our coffee. And we have two options. We can either grind the coffee and pack it as filter coffee, or we can actually pack it as beans, okay? So that depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes we do a lot of catering. We sell our coffee to catering companies, hotels, and things like that. And we also do retail coffee. So if we are selling our coffee kind of like for filter coffee, then we will pack it as a filter coffee. And over here we pack beans, okay? So that depends on the type of blend that I'm using. So in this case, this is Dorota. Hi. And then we have the coffee bags over here. Okay. And this is how we have one of our blends. So Monkey is one of our best-selling blends, and it has Honduras, Brazil, and Sumatra. So back here, we explain everything about how our coffee is hand-roasted, how much we give back to our communities, or how do we get back to our communities, and it's 100% Arabica, so we have a bit of information over here. And we only give 4 months shell life to our coffees, which actually confirms that we don't roast our coffee so dark. And yep, that's it. This is our 1 kilo bag. And then I'm gonna show you over there. We also have this coffee, which is called Ruko. So our Ruko blend has a coffee from Rwanda, which is actually a specialty grade. And it's a lovely blend because it brings some of that acidity that we're looking for in a coffee from Africa. And we are very connected to Rwanda because the company is actually funding some healthcare programs for some families with the farmers over there in Rwanda. These blends over here, Blue Earth, it's one of our darkest blends, but at the same time, these coffees are fair trade and organic. So this is a certified organic blend. All the coffees that we roast are actually sent for delivery the following day after they roasted. So by the time the customer gets the coffee, usually it will be 3 to 4 days after roasting, which is perfect for them to make a coffee. And then the whole process starts again. We are actually working on a morning shift, so the guys will be roasting coffee from like 7 a.m. until like 1 or 2 p.m. And then there's a lot of research, development, packing, and preparing for the next day. And that's it. Sometimes people get really, really surprised to realize that from here we can supply the entire country. And but yeah, this is what we do here. Really cool.